Good afternoon and welcome to Talksports, our weekend program. Yes, it is our weekend program where we look at all that is taking place with our sportsmen, our sportswomen, coaches, administrators, just about everyone involved in sports. We welcome you to our weekend program where we will have a full discussion on a number of topics today. Yes, we'll be talking cricket, we'll be talking football, we'll be talking tennis, track and field, and much more. You know, we have quite a lot to talk about. We'll be going all over the place, and getting a bit and pieces of what has been happening. Well, of course, a lot has been said about West Indies cricket, and no doubt a little piece will be on West Indies cricket, on we boys, as we will say. Good afternoon to you, Lincoln Toro, Deputy. Right? Yes, but in all serious note, there's a new executive as well in to run the affairs of cricket in Carriacou, the Carriacou United Cricket Club. So we'll be talking about that. There's the annual youth five-a-side football tournament in Carriacou as well. We'll have a little talk about that. And then, as I said, West Indies Test Squad, they're preparing for a home series against India. Well, the West Indies women are doing pretty well. They're playing against Ireland in the T20 International Series. They have a game later on today. And then, by the way, we'll be hearing from Brian Lara, because, Brian Lara is now part of the West Indies makeup, especially the test players. And they're in camp in Antigua. And we'll hear from Brian Lara as well. The Ashes series is ongoing. If you can get a look at my TV, yeah. Australia, they lead by 194. They're trying to battle back. They actually 168 for 7. And they're trying to build on that lead against 168 for 7, a lead by 194. They're trying to build that lead against England. Well, as you know, we're talking about cricket. Well, Sri Lanka and the Dutch, yes, the Netherlands, they will square off to see who will actually win the ICC Men's Cricket World Cup qualifier. Both teams already qualified, but who will win it? The bragging rights, more or less. And for the first time in, almost 50 years, West Indies will not be a part of a Cricket World Cup. And then also the CAC, Central American and Caribbean Games, ongoing in San Salvador, in El Salvador. Some interesting results, yeah. And then the national championships, track and field championships taking place across the world. Well, particularly, I know of a lot of interest for the Jamaicans and the United States, and some interesting times as well. So the athletes, no doubt, looking to gain selection on the national teams to represent them at the World Championships, the Athletics Championships coming up in Budapest, Hungary, next month. And then there's ongoing Wimbledon tennis, yes, Grand Slam tennis on the TV, if you have access to a TV, no doubt. So quite a bit happening. My friend Rudian should join me later on. Good afternoon to you, Gordon Bodie Jr. I want to say good afternoon to you very early. Good afternoon to you. Edwin Sam, I know you have been following a lot on the national championships, the USA trials, as we'll say. Good afternoon to you, Cleve Depredine, Lincoln Depredine, all the fans who usually tune in on a Saturday. So as I indicated, let's get a little piece on the cricket. We'll try to get that out of the way. As you know, West Indies played Sri Lanka in their final qualifying game. And losing effort, and the victory was against Oman and Nepal, and these sort of teams. But nevertheless, let's hear what one of the players, in fact, he is upcoming. I will still regard him as an upcoming player, like Kiasi Kati, what he had to say after that game, in the final game against Sri Lanka.
Half century in ODI cricket. It was a wonderful feeling to help contribute to get the team to a somewhat challenging total. And it felt good to just be out there and get some runs. Well, just a bit more camaraderie. We generally gel well. We practice hard. So it's just to fine tune the finer things and put it all in place on the field. Well, it was kind of difficult to start. They have some very good bowlers. The pitch was a bit stoppy, but it was good for the most part. Once you apply yourself, you could get some runs. Well, to me, our batters did well. You had Puran, you had Shea Hope, you had Brandon King, you had Johnson Charles with a few scores. So it was just just get it all together a bit more than we did. But generally, to me, majority of the batters did their job in a sense.
So are you blaming the bowlers?
No, I'm not. Well, we definitely have to improve on our feeling. Playing on good pitches like this, you probably need some higher totals, so we have to be a bit more disciplined with the bat. But we're heading in the right direction, I would say. Well, it's his second tournament. He was head coach since the UAE series, but since he came, he put some things in place in how he wanted to see the team go forward, and everyone is buying into it. Everyone is gelling with him well, backing him as a coach, backing the new captain as well. So going forward, we just hope to fine-tune the finer things.
Yeah, as a team, we look to chase down they were 160 for 7 or something. So we target them to get all out 220. But unfortunately, some drop catches from our side. But our bowlers bowl really well today as a team. So it's a good chase. As a bowling unit, we are on top right now. So the main part is our bowlers are stick to their basic plans and working through their stump to stump bowling length. So I think that's the secret behind our success of our bowlers. So I'm really happy about the bowlers. From the start we take every game for play our A game. So looking forward to repeat the same process for the finals as well. So we have our plans to play against Netherlands. We can't take lightly any team at the moment. So we are qualified, but we have to win this match as well as a team. That's a morale boost for us going forward to other tournaments as well. So looking forward to repeat the same process. Like I said, first we had a pressure when we come into this tournament. So guys put up their hand up at every match. So we saw crucial knocks from batsmen and great spells from our bowlers. So I think that's the secret behind this success of our team. So looking forward to continue this form as a team. As a player, I came to the team after 4 years for this one-day team. So I was planning to be the match winner for this tournament. I couldn't bat for 2-3 games, but I had played. I think I played well in the first games against Ireland and Oman games and UAE games. So I think I'm really happy about the form that I'm in. So looking forward to continue the same form.
Yes. So you heard from first the West Indies player, that's Kiasi Kati. You heard from him first, and then after that you heard from Sri Lanka player. His name is Sadira Samarawik Rama. Yes, Sadira. Okay, no doubt. Tough luck for West Indies, but Sri Lanka is looking to finish the tournament unbeaten. Okay, they have the test against the Netherlands, and it'll be tough for them, but the Netherlands, the Dutch, they have nothing to lose, and in fact they are already will be playing in the ICC Men's World Cup tournament, and as I indicated, it will be the first time that there will be a cricket World Cup at any sort, whether it's T20, whether it's, well, they don't really test, but West Indies will be the World Cup without the West Indies, and we have to live with that, it's an opportunity for West Indies to do some rebuilding. Let's hear from the captain of the Netherlands, Captain Scott Edwards, in their pre-final press conference as they look forward to the final game against Sri Lanka, which is coming up on Sunday morning, very early Sunday morning. And I guess as much those who follow in cricket and not just West Indies cricket will be looking forward to that as well.
Pretty easy, to be honest. I think, going into the tournament, obviously qualifying was part of it, but, for us, we wanted to win the tournament. So, once we sort of celebrated qualifying, we've moved straight on to preparing for this game. And, we're looking forward to hopefully playing a good game of cricket tomorrow. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's obviously a little bit of an advantage that we've played probably a few more games here than they have. But we don't know exactly what the conditions are going to be later in the tournament. I think it's a used wicket, so we'll assess that and go from there. Not necessarily. I think it's as a batting group, we know we've got to play better than we did last time against them. So hopefully tomorrow. We show that we're a better batting unit than we did last time against Sri Lanka. Yeah, that obviously made it a little bit harder. I think throughout the tournament, our Max and Vikram have been sensational. Probably, two of the better openers at this tournament. So, for us, they've played a massive part in us qualifying, and hopefully tomorrow, they can keep doing what they're doing and set the platform for us. I think it's shown throughout the back end of the tournament that the conditions, batting first and batting second, haven't played as much of a role as maybe they did earlier in the tournament. So, it's always nice winning the toss, but I don't think it makes a huge difference at this stage in the tournament. I think we've always, seen ourselves as a team that, we like to learn, whether that's on the job before or after games. So, we do our homework. We put some KPIs in place, and we feel like if we tick off most of those boxes, we give ourselves the best chance to win. And then obviously the day after a game, we'll sort of go through those KPIs and the style that we played, and assess and see if there's anything we'd like to improve on for the next game.
The retro?
Yeah, that's the retro is after the game. Yeah, so we just go through all the KPIs and how our batters, our bowlers, our fielding's been, and if there's anything we need to put in place or improve for the next game. Yeah, I don't know. We've got a lot of sort of squad members, back in the Netherlands or in England or wherever they are in the world. So they've been keeping in close touch. They're all in the same sort of groups or group apps. So. Yeah, well, they're everywhere, I suppose. We've got a large squad in the Netherlands and in the UK. So, I think the messaging's always been the same. We're just trying to play our best brand of cricket, and they've been supporting us from the side. Yeah, I think it was something coming into the tournament. A lot of the grounds in Zimbabwe are quite large, so. We had a big focus point on our running between the wickets and trying to sort of squeeze every run out that we could. And for us, whether that's running quick singles or running twos or trying to put some fielding sides under the pump when some of the outfields are a little bit bumpy or things like that. I think it's just one of those 1%ers coming into the tournament that. We had a big emphasis on, and we thought could give us a little bit of an advantage over some of the teams. Yeah, it's obviously something we put a big emphasis on. Obviously in the Netherlands the weather's not great for half of the year, so you do what you can in the nets, but fitness is one of those things that you can do regardless of weather. So the guys have been really good with that. We've got an amazing physio and strength and conditioning coach.
Yes, no doubt. So that was actually Scott Edwards, the captain of the Netherlands, as they prepare to play Sri Lanka in the final qualifying game. Both teams already into the ICC Men's World Cup, but as we say, to win the qualifier. And I assume Sri Lanka on its part will want to end the tournament unbeaten, and the Dutch will probably look to see if they can, make an upset, never know. Lots have been happening in cricket. As we always say, cricket, a game of glorious uncertainties. Rudy is standing by there. He's not so much, I don't want to say that. I was about to say he's not too much a cricket fan, but I assume those who have been on the fence for a while, may be a bit hesitant, especially what's going on with West Indies cricket, But as I keep saying, and I say that a lot to my good friend Lincoln Toro Depredine, that I'll remain true to the West Indies cause, as I say, I'm a wee boys, and I'll continue supporting West Indies cricket because it's not for some people it has been. They don't think that West Indies can go any lower than it is now, but I still believe that we have probably some of the best talents in terms of cricket. When you look at the average age of cricketers, especially in the Caribbean, young guys, right? West Indies probably has the youngest, guys playing cricket and world cricket, The problem we have is a matter of consistency, keeping our guys consistent. Rudy, and in track and field, you will have athletes performing at the highest level consistently for years. Let's use Kirani James as an example, right? It's more than 10 years now, and he's still competing at a high level. And I don't want to compare too much of the track and field with the cricket. Okay, the cricket is more a team sport, right? But in the West Indies, in particular, we don't find that many cricketers consistently, performing at the highest level for that period of time. We had a few of those guys. Most of them have retired from international cricket. They're now playing just T20, and things like that. So, you had the Chris Gale and the Brian Laras and all those who played for a considerable amount of time. These days, we're not finding the average West Indies cricketer, probably lasting for 5 years. They come on the scene, 2 seasons probably, and then they head off to T20 for the big bucks, and then we lose them to playing competitive cricket representing West Indies. They come unavailable. Sometimes they say due to injuries, sometimes due to this, because they're all over the place. Rudy, and I know in Canada, cricket is becoming a big sport as well.
Most definitely a pleasure to see you and your listeners. It's good to be on another Sport Talks. Most definitely. And you mentioned the Chris Gale and the Brian Lara, and I was going to go further back and go the Ambrose and the Walsh and those great players back then. Was phenomenal for cricket in those times, but you don't find those talent anymore. It's the same thing in the sports. In almost all the sporting that they play now, it's about the money. It's not that they want to be. I hear people talk about, I'll sit on a bench and make $2 million for basketball. Then you don't love the sport. If you love the sport, you want to play. And if you're hungry for it, and I said if the money wasn't wrong today, you probably still have guys like Shaq and Jordan and his guys playing still.
They love
it. We know it's in the money, but because the opportunity there, and they just move them along. But you don't have this anymore. You have guys retiring early. You have a handful of athletes now go 20 years in the NBA, and you don't have those things anymore. Same thing with football, and then the injury. Guys playing, you get one little hurt, you're down for a month. Because why? They're getting paid. So it doesn't matter. They don't love the sport. Listen, man. You got to be
Yeah,
hungry. You got to want it. You got to
I
want it, man.
yeah, quite a bit
Yeah,
to do with that. Well,
yeah.
good afternoon to you, Lincoln Deputy Theo Duncan. Good afternoon to you, Richard Pierre. I'm coming to all your comments in a while. Lots of comments coming in there as well. Interested. I seen. Well, you'll love that. Toro always like to put in the hockey and his his hockey. But we'll come to that in a while.
Yeah,
I
but
still want to.
that one question you said, yes. That's what I'm driving it wrong. I see now they have really big fields for cricket now. They actually have cricket fields out here now.
And
That is really big,
is it
and
the
it's a really
same?
big thing. Yeah.
Is it the same, Rudy, unlike the US where we have a lot of the expatriates, the migrants, for example? I
Yes,
know,
it definitely
look
is.
at the US team, for example, a lot from Pakistan, India.
Yeah,
Is it the
yeah.
same
But
for
what we
Canada?
have is the same thing. It's more the Pakistan, the Indians, and it's certainly in the areas where they live, like the Mississauga, the Brampton area. You see
But do
those
you
big
think?
fields.
But
Yeah.
do you think if teams like Canada and the US, not performing creditably on the international stage, that may even intrigue the interest of even the native North Americans, like the native Canadians, the native USA born Americans, born Canadian, to participate and get more involved in the sport?
Yeah, but when you say born coming from a migrant family,
No, not necessarily. Like, well,
okay.
not necessarily.
Yeah. So yeah,
Caribbean or,
yeah. Because out here you have people they have the Scottish, and you ask somebody where they're from, they're gonna say, well, my generation goes back to Scotland or go back.
Scotland, the
The
Irish
parents
and
might be born here.
find that.
The parents might be born here, but still it kind of run in the blood kind of thing. A lot of black folks they'll tell you they were born here, the kids was born here, but their mother or their father or their grandfather or something may come from the Caribbean or may come from one. Yeah, so there's always the migrant aspect still instilled in us, or instilled in them when they be here. However, I think once it's opened up for something, then it will be there. Cricket is not as big, so it's always going to be on the migrant side because the baseball will definitely take over it. And that's where you find those folks, the Canadians, born true blood Canadians who will love even besides the hockey. But now it's slowly coming there, and if you give it another 5 years, you're gonna find a lot of.
I said that because I know, for example, if you look at football, and we speak in a Caribbean lingo here, football, right? With the exploits of Canada in world football, both men and women, by the way, right? We have seen a lot of interest in football in North America, period. Well, USA, men's and women, Canada, men's and women.
Both men and women,
As a matter of fact, Canada and USA, they actually
playing quarterfinals.
Quarterfinals in CONCACAF, CONCACAF World Cup, right? But I'm saying that to say we have seen that sort of interest in football, especially among the young folks in these two nations in particular. And we know when there is that interest and when there is the involvement of television, it starts being televised, etc., there's more interest. In it. Yeah,
especially
I was in South Dakota for a period of time, a few weeks, and I've noticed that even in those areas, so many kids playing. You are not just on a weekend, during the week, on the afternoons. There was a field not too far from the hotel I was, and on the afternoons, you're seeing so many young kids there playing, and it was religiously every afternoon. You've seen those kids there.
No, it's believe it or believe it, I'm going to say or not, that football, as we call it, they call it soccer, is a bigger sport in Canada than hockey. So hockey is actually trailing behind soccer. of football, as we may say.
So
And that's because of the participation of the migrants and the Italians and the Greek and all of those, generation of people, their kids get into this, because I'm seeing kids starting kicking ball from 3 years old. They actually have a league for them from 3 years old. And when you see them all there, they all want to be at the one little ball. And even when one get knocked down from a different color, that he stop and he help to pick them up. And it's fun. It's good to watch it, the fun of the sport. So they started them quite young.
And in addition to that, they have their parents with them, right?
And the parents is there with the chairs and the coolers and they run come and bring out a juice box and
that's the fun of it. And
that's the fun of it.
That's the idea. I think where those and listen, it's not too hard to do it even in the Caribbean, because
it's not.
One of the things that we have going for us in the Caribbean is the weather. Okay, in North America, they're doing it now because there is the warm weather for now, the summer, and then for some areas they may have indoor facilities, but generally we can do that year round, year round.
Yeah.
But let me get some comments, and then we'll go back to hearing from the Sri Lankan captain. We also have to hear from Brian Lara. It's important to hear what Brian Lara has to say. I know it'll be interesting. Let's get some reading there. From Toro, poor chap from West Indies. He doesn't seem to know what he is talking about. Bas, I hope you sign my petition that I am sending to West Indies cricket, calling on them to abandon cricket. Try their hands at hockey. Canada, as you know, is the greatest hockey playing nation in the world. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is willing to offer an aid package to the Caribbean, including supplying coaches and building hockey rings in every Carriacou country, including Grenada. Richard Pierre, good afternoon to you. Since 1995, we have been rebuilding, and rebuilding has been so slow that even Netherlands have passed us. Soon, USA will be ahead of West Indies. And he also says, a fundamental issue we have to build upon is the pitches we play our cricket on. Those slow pitches are not conducive for developing fast bowlers and stroke players, the tenets that West Indies cricket is built upon. Yes, so that's a comment there from Richard Pierre. Richard, good afternoon to you. So Rudian, let me hear what the captain of Sri Lanka, that's Dasan Shanaka, sorry, why am I saying Shananaka? Dasun Shanaka had to say in anticipation of the game against the Dutch. I know they will not be taking it that lightly. They'll be going all out as if they're playing one of the strength team.
Yeah, and up to the time, so everyone is fit. So hopefully we'll be playing with our full strength tomorrow. See, ahead of a final, so I think it's a good practice for us. So we played in turning tracks, and to be honest, the wicket looks really good yesterday. So I expect same kind of a wicket tomorrow as well. To be honest, they are a good side with good capabilities. They played good cricket to their potential. I must say they never went out of their box, but still they stick to their basics really well. So the games we played two times against them, practice game and a tournament game. So in that tournament game, we gave them to come to the game. So we won the toss, and we wanted to challenge ourselves in that conditions. So that's what happened. So actually they got good players with them. So we expect a good match tomorrow. So as a full member country, so it's very much important to win this series, and the way we have played in this tour, I'm very sure we'll do well and we will win tomorrow. At the start of the tournament, so it was our fast bowlers who opened up to the middle, to the spinners. So they took early wickets, and to be honest, our bowling unit was the most strengthened bowling unit coming to the tournament. We had Lahiru Kumara, Chamira, and unfortunately they got injured. So after that, Dilshan Madhusankar, he took the run from there. So he took early wickets for us. So then onwards, Vanidu and Mahesh Dikshana was able to pick the wickets in the middle. Yeah, I think it depends on both fast bowlers and spinners, but majority it's controlled by the spinners, two spinners. So what they have done in the tournament, it can be seen easily. And when it comes to Netherlands batting, so I think they analyze really well. They raise the situation, and what we saw from their batting, they had a plan when it comes to that second game. In the practice game, they had no idea what is going to come, but we saw that they came with a real good planning into that second game. So I really expect, and my teammates, they all expect something from them, but we are prepared as well. We got our own plans. So yeah, I think it's the nature of cricket. So you can't expect any of the teams to stay consistent with the performance. So a good thing is we managed to get favorable results at the end. So what is important is to continue the winning streak, plus controlling that our strengths. So I hope we'll from here onwards we'll control our performance up to that mark. ඇත්තරම වනිදු සහ ධනංජය ඉතාමත් හොඳ ශරීර සෞඛ්‍ය මට්ටමින් ඉන්නවා. ඇත්තරම ඕනේ අපිට ඒ දෙන්න පොඩි රෙස්ට් එකක් දෙන්න. මොකද එක දිගට මැච් යහුවා. ඉතින් වනිදු කාලයක් තිස්සේ දිගටම ගහනවා. ඉතින් මම හිතන්නේ ෆයිනල් එකට වුන් සූදානම්. ඉතින් කණ්ඩායමක් විදියට අපි හොඳින් දක්ෂතා දක්වලා තියෙනවා. ඉතින් මේ තරඟයේ බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ අපේ උපරිම කණ්ඩායමට දීලා තරඟයේ ජයග්‍රහණය කරන්න. ඔව් ඇත්තටම ඔවුන්ගේ සහයෝගය ඉතාමත් වැදගත්. තරඟයට කලිනුත් තරඟයෙන් පසුවත් ඇවිල්ලා අපිට කියන්නේ අපිත් එක්ක කතා කරලා අපිට විශ් කරා. ඉතින් මම හිතන්නේ ඒ ලැබෙන සහයෝගය ඕන තැනක ඉතාමත් වැදගත් වෙනවා. මොකද අපිට අපේ කියලා හැඟීමක් ඇති වෙන්නේ ඒ ප්‍රේක්ෂකයොත් එක්ක මික්ස් වෙද්දී. ඉතින් අපි උන්ට ස්තුතිවන්ත දෙනවා කණ්ඩායමට ජයഘോഷා නැගුවට. ඉතින් හෙටත් අපි ඔවුන්ගේ සහයෝගය බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. මම හිතන්නේ
so that is actually the captain of Sri Lanka. Well, he moved from English into Sinhalese. That's their language. Obviously, international reporters are there, so that's why he moved into his native language speaking. So they're looking forward to that game come Sunday morning, early Sunday morning. Let me take some more comments here. Toro is saying it isn't about talent, but a lot of athletes with talent never won squat in their careers over the years. Even when Lara was there, Lara is now going to be a mentor. West Indies boys were being beaten. They have now been beaten into submission, especially by white men teams that have lost all confidence in themselves as a team. Money is good, and the better you play is the more money you make. Losing game after game, day after day doesn't help you make money. So he's saying West Indies boys probably in good. I believe that Toro is saying. Roger Duncan, good afternoon. Our failure at the game of cricket is no rocket science. Cricket is no longer a game of choice or passion in the region. In other countries, it's a way of life. So it's played with purpose. I cannot say the same about us. Let's finish off that cricket issue there. We want to hear what our good friend Brian Lara has to say, because come next, in the next few days, I should say, West Indies will be taking on India, this time in the Test series. Brian Lara is brought in as a mentor. By the way, while we're talking West Indies, let's not mix up our women. The women are doing well. In fact, later on today, they will be playing Ireland in the T20 International Series. When we say West Indies, let's say West Indies men, because we have the women, and the women are doing pretty well, okay? They are holding their own, right? But let's hear what Brian Lara has to say, because the test squad is preparing. They're actually in Antigua, and they're preparing for the test series against India. It starts in Dominica on the 12th. Philip Skinner of West Indies Cricket, media team. He spoke to Brian Lara in Antigua. Let's hear.
Brian Lara, someone who needs no introduction to our Indies fans. Brian, welcome to Antigua and welcome to West Indies camp.
Thank you. It's been good.
Tell us what's been good about it, what you enjoyed working with the youngsters.
Yeah, well, obviously, we've got 2 very important test matches, which starts that cycle, that 2-year cycle for us, and it's against India, who all we know, at home, away from home, they're one of the top teams in the world, and I think the guys have been moving in the right direction in terms of, where we started the camp and where we are at this present moment. It's only a few days off from the first test match in Dominica, but a young group, ably led by Craig Brathwaite, of course, but I feel that some of the guys can really come into their own in this series. It's a tough opposition, but I believe that's the way we can get the best out of them.
And there are 2 young batters who are going to come into the reckoning. Mackenzie, who did well in Bangladesh, and Athanaze, who was steadily showing some good improvement. Your thoughts on the 2 youngsters?
Yeah, quite capable players, young. Of course, you'd love to if they have a lot more experience, especially in the first class arena. But looking at their style of play, their attitude, I believe they do have what it takes to perform at the highest level. It may take some time, but obviously, as an international cricketer, if you enter in the stage, doesn't matter what age you enter, you've got to learn very, very quickly. And I think that they have that sort of attitude to want to learn and willing to listen. And I look forward to good things in the future.
Yes. So Lara is very optimistic, and he's saying that he's looking forward to good things, right? I don't want to doubt my boy, Rudian, but I think with the what has been happening in West Indies cricket recently, I think it may be a hard sell, even though this time it's a test series. But the performance of West Indies cricket will always follow, right? And there are people who wouldn't really want to differentiate, well, this is the T20 or this is the ODI team or this is the test. This is West Indies, And I know it's a hard sell, but give him the benefit of the doubt. He's among the players, he's mentoring them, he's speaking to them. And, he can be probably sharing with us the mindset of the players. And to be honest too, looking at the recent performances of West Indies at the one-day game, the T20, and things like that. So I'm certain that the test players will be looking to have, a good showing. They will be looking to rebuild in some of the trust West Indies cricket. Rudia?
Most definitely. Like I said, there have been problems for years with West Indies, and it goes way back, in time, maybe 20 years ago. Issues that never been fixed, and so we've seen this group of young lads coming in now. Like I said, do they have the passion for the sport? Do they love the sport enough? And I think that's what it is. When you love it, you go over and beyond for the sport. I mean, I put the same thing with myself as a young kid. The first time I get a pair of spikes, everywhere I go, I had it on. I had my spikes with me, not on, but I had it with me. And somebody wanted to challenge me, I had to put on my spikes, and I'm ready. I had the passion for track and field, and that could be about way for it. I seen it today. Kids, they have a basketball in their bag. They actually buy a bag that could hold a basketball, a backpack, and they see them with their shoes on. They're always ready to play. So there's a difference in you're hungry for it. You're gonna fall. And I think what happened in West Indies, once they fall, it was so hard to come back. It was really hard to come back. And I always say that when we were successful, we never add on to our success. Yes, and I hear many people talk about, yes, we had little academies here. Them other countries had academies. India had academies for bowling, academy for batting. And that's the thing that we should have.
What's about And yeah, and what's about, in addition to the academies that you're speaking about, what's about the investment in the sport?
And in the investment as well. They invest in it. And we see it in so many different sports. India, the number one long jumper under 20 is Indian for girls. They invest in track and field now. You look at it, we talk about it in sports, talk about other countries investing. We say that the United States never involved in a sport they cannot win in, but give them time. You give them time. And I always say that.
Look at football. Look at football, the MLS, you know.
Yeah, I said give them time.
Yeah.
And I told some people one day, you give them time, they could be top in the world in actual World Cup. Just give them the time. And they will do it because they've seen that they can do it. So guess what? They invest in it. Mm-hmm. And that's why I always people always say, you always like the United States. Yeah, because they invest in their athletes. They invest in their athletes. It is time for us to do the same thing. The minute we do that, and we have the companies in the Caribbean and even outside of the Caribbean who can invest in it. Now, do they just lack of interest as well? So they say they don't want to invest in it. So it's a debate or a discussion to have, and how we develop. I was having some friends with some Indian friends, and I said, if you guys put 5 teams together, look at the amount of people India have, any one of these teams could win the World Cup. Because that's how the amount of people and the attitude towards the sport is different. So once we change the attitude, as a young Michael, even back to you, the attitude you guys have in your days towards football was so different than the attitude that we had. But we even still grind it out and we hang on to it. But the group after us, the attitude is not there. The attitude toward the sport is not there. So they got to have the attitude, and I think that's what it is with Western Indies team. For them to come back, they have to change the mindset from management all the way down to the last player. Change your mindset, and I think once that can happen, yes, now they're bringing in the brand Lara. Now they're bringing those players in. They should have been in from a long time. It's too late. It's too late. They should have bring them in from a long time. They should. I always say that the minute one of these guys in them left and retired, they should have been in. Ambrose should have been having a bowling school. People leave other islands and going to that one island to practice how to bowl. Fast bowling, slow bowling. Even with us right there, Junior Murray should have a wicket keeping academy because he was one of the best in the Caribbean playing for the West Indies team and even go as far as the world. And that should have been done. And so I think it's running too late, and they're trying now to do the best they can. And I hope it holds its own based on what they are doing. I appreciate what they're doing. I'm not taking it away. I appreciate what they're doing, but is the young lads, do they have the mindset to listen, to accept? And until if they don't have that, then we can't move forward. They have to know when they're wrong. We should be able to correct them. And if they cannot take correction, it's different.
Just bear with me a moment there. I want to...
Other CARICOM heads of government, Your Excellency Dr. Carla Barnett, Secretary General of the Caribbean Community, Your Excellency Dr. Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations, Your Excellency Hans Duck-Soo, Prime Minister of the Republic of Korea.
Just listen to an introduction.
The Honorable Chief Justice, Mr. Ivor Archie and Mrs. Denise Rodriguez Archie, the Honorable Bridget Anisette George, Speaker of the House of Representatives, and Mr. Newman George, Senator the Honorable Nigel de Freitas, President of the Senate of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, and Mr. Siena de Freitas, Chief Secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly, Ministers of Government of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago and other Ministers of Government of the region, specially invited guests, Your Excellencies, heads of diplomatic mission and ambassadors to the Caribbean community, members of Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago, chief representatives of the international organizations, delegates, ladies and gentlemen, members of the media, good evening. Today, it is my honor to welcome you to the beautiful Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago for the convening of the 45th regular meeting of the Conference of the Heads of Government of CARICOM. For us here in the Caribbean, This is a significant event, as tomorrow we also launch the celebration of the 50th anniversary of the signing of the original Treaty of Chaguaramas, right here in Trinidad and Tobago. Historians of the future will agree that this celebration took place at a critical juncture in the regional integration movement. Never before have small states faced the broad and deep range of challenges that we face now. From climate change, pandemic, gun crimes and violence, transnational migration issues, to insecurity with food supplies, our region has been buffeted by many systemic storms.
Yeah, that's actually Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister. Yeah, that's during the opening of the 50th the 50th anniversary of Carriacou. By the way, he took a swipe at West Indies cricket. It's somewhere later on in this presentation that everyone taking a swipe at West Indies cricket, and he did. West Indies have tried retired players, but the retirees, including the great captain Clive Lloyd, have not been able to translate their accomplishments as players into accomplishments as managers, coaches, managers and selectors. Rudian for president, yes. Hey, Roger. And Lara was one of the greatest batsmen ever, but he was a so-so captain that led teams that performed so-so overall. Quite a bit on West Indies cricket. Let me just let you know that the Carriacou United Cricket Board Incorporated, they had the AGM that was held on Monday, last Monday. The following persons were elected to serve for the period 2023 to 2024. The president is Mr. Kieran Bristol, vice president Josh Edmond. The secretary is Anderson Matheson, treasurer Alban Caton. The PRO is Devon Matheson, and they have the directors Ronald Gittins, Alex Moses, Donna Stafford, Angus Modest, and we have the director umpires, representing the umpires and the players, Imran George and Kenrick Matherin, respectively. So congratulations to Carriacou United Cricket Board. But only just one suggestion, Carriacou, serving a period of 2023 to 2024. I don't think, Rudian, when we have these executives that, yes, we have been talking a lot about, people not staying on for too long, right? And executives, but 1 year for an executive, I don't think in modern times enough to do to do that much,
Yeah, and really and truly, it's not even a year. Sometimes it's sometimes it's just 10 months. In terms of maybe 9 months in terms of active and actually doing something.
Yeah, why we don't want them to stay on for life. At the same time, you have to give the members
them a
some
chance.
time to think. But it's good to know that Matheson, and I want to thank you for the information. Things happening in Carriacou, and I like something about Carriacou. Despite the challenges they have. And you
push forward. They push forward.
Look at boxing in Carriacou. Look at track and field in Carriacou. Most of our young athletes who have been competing, successfully gone on to Jamaica, etc. They come from Carriacou and Piri Martinique. And we are seeing the challenges they have, because in most cases, for them to compete in national championships, they have to venture to the mainland and sometimes at their own cost, right? And participate and things like that. So a lot of challenges. Look at tennis. You have a young tennis player from Carriacou, doing very well in tennis. They, I also heard, because the table tennis coaches went to Carriacou, and they have honored some very good talents as well. So, they're holding their own And
Michael, as I said, you give them time. Carriacou is taking
yeah,
trophy up.
I want to agree with that as well. You know,
Give them a
and
time.
even with the lack of resources and things like that. So, because what I can tell you too is that the Grenada Sports and Wellbeing Foundation, which is based in Carriacou, they're holding their 4th annual boys, the Youth 5 versus 5 football tournament in Carriacou. It's actually starting next Saturday, is next weekend, Saturday and Sunday, at the Lauriston Midi Stadium from 10:30 in the morning. They have 30 teams participating, but the teams are coming from Carriacou, mainland Grenada. They're also coming from St. Vincent, Bequia, Canoan, Union Island, Petite Martinique, and Trinidad and Tobago. Youth tournament. That again, we like to see and we like to support, because you're giving these youngsters the opportunity to participate. It's actually a youth tournament, and I'm seeing here they're actually under 13, right? So thanks, Trevor McIntosh, for the information. Hopefully next year we'll see the girls involved as well. But I know with COVID and things like that, you had so many challenges, but glad to see it's back on the calendar now. The Lauriston Mini Stadium next weekend from 10:30 in the morning. It's the 4th annual Youth 5 versus 5 football tournament. And we have teams coming from Trinidad and Tobago, Grenada, Petite Martinique, Union Island, Canoan, Bequia, St. Vincent, and of course the host, Carriacou. So that's happening as well. Staying in Carriacou, let me see what's happening. Boxers from Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique will trade punches later today in a box-off boxing trials at the Youth Center. Well, that's in Grenada, but I noticed boxers from Carriacou participating in that. They're competing for selection for the OECS boxing tournament to be held later this month in St. Lucia. This event is organized by the Boxing Association of Grenada, Inc. That's the other boxing association. Yeah. And I've actually seen a photo of the ring. It has already been set up. And it's at the Grenada Trade Center. Yes. So if you're looking for some boxing action, it's the Grenada Trade Center later today. Well, thank you very much, Sebastian Steve, for the information. Probably a little time, if you can drop me a little time, I will be able to tell the folks. So it's a box-off tournament at the Youth Center sometime today, probably 6 o'clock. I know normally that's what they will have. It's organized by the Boxing Association of Grenada, Inc. So boxing on later today. Let's go back to some of your good comments coming in there. Cleve Deputy is saying the development of Zimbabwe I saw on my 5 visits to that country. The youth academy is beyond par, despite their deprivation economically. That is now paying off. Children of Indian parentage is now moving Zimbabwe from a laughing stock to a viable cricket contender. So places like Zimbabwe, Malawi, Lesotho, you know, and things like that. Yes, very much so. Nice to hear about cricket in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique. Thank you, Veronica Sandy. And Cleve say, Michael, can you direct me as to where I can find an athletics schedule for 2024? My search only gives me the curve to games, nothing else, not even intercall. I'm not certain when you say athletic schedule for 2024. Is it Grenada? Is it NACAC?
International?
Yeah. Yeah, because if it's NACAC, you can go on the NACAC calendar, NACAC Athletics, and you'll be able to get that.
I think what athletics also will give you what's happening too for 2024.
It's actually Grenada. I would probably have to see if I can get a copy of one. But I think our final event in terms of track and field would have been the Whitsuntide Games, right? The Whitsuntide Games, yeah, in terms of that. But I'll probably have to search to see if I may have one. I know there have been a couple changes. You said for 2024? Oh, no. Sorry, I just realized.
It's not even out yet, yeah.
Nah, 2024 wouldn't be available as yet. Yeah. Yeah, they don't. Normally, you will see those things probably in September, October. They will start putting the master thing. They may have an idea, a shell. They may have a shell of some of the major events that are already scheduled. But in terms of a final, yeah, that you can, even if you go on NACAC, for example, you will have a shell. You will just see some of the events that are already scheduled. Okay, like for example, we know Carriacou Games scheduled for Grenada, okay, in 2024. So that will be there. We know the NACAC Senior Championship, that will be there. But in terms of those other events, no. Normally, I think it's around September, October. They will, and especially in Grenada, they normally will try to incorporate the school calendar as well. So they'll try to put in the school events, the various school athletics championships and the things from the Ministry of Sports and all these things. Yeah, so it's quite a bit early for that. Well, that's how they normally will do that, and working along with the Ministry of Sports and getting the dates, getting the venues and all these sort of things like that. So, yeah, for 2024. And in fact, their season start, the track and field season kicks off into October, I think, with those mini meets and, the long distance races and,
cross country,
cross country events and things like that. So, right. Yeah. So, Rudian, CSC Games, National Championships. Oh my, we run out of so much time, but we need to talk about that. We're already saying that some countries have taken the Central American and Caribbean Games that serious to the point where they have used it, and some athletes have gained qualification for World Championships, for example. Jeremy Richards.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Jeremy Richards, for example, qualified for the 400 meters. Some of the athletes I see qualified for various events using the CSC Games. I was thinking that Grenada, for example, would have used the CSC Games as a gauge for the relays that we have been talking about.
About it, I was quite shocked and disappointed. I didn't see. Yeah.
There are no college.
Nothing. College is done. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was kind of shocked and surprised I did not see. I think if I'm mistaken, maybe two Grenadians that is competing at the games. If there is that much, so I was quite a little bit surprised and shocked. I didn't see that happening. But a lot, like you said, a lot of athletes was there, and there's some very world class athletes. So not just the regular athlete. The world class athletes was there competing, representing the country.
Their countries, yeah.
And so I mean, like I said, we had a young man from St. Vincent won the 800, 145. That's a hell of a run.
Well, and we even had our St. Lucia staff, for example. She went. She didn't really have to go there.
She didn't have to go, but she went to represent her country. She was representing her country. Yep. I even saw what's her name from Venezuela. The triple jumper, what's her name? I should know her name. Yeah. She was there. She was there because she didn't really was performing as well, for the years yet. So it's time for us to. I thought we were moving in the right direction, in terms of getting our athletes in competition. And I mean, I look at the Jamaican Championship. Even at the Jamaican Championship, there is athletes from outside of the country, outside of Jamaica, competing as well. We need to start. I mean, I love Grenada, but it is time for us
especially where we do not have, unlike Jamaica, Bahamas.
We don't have a national championship.
We don't have a national championship, so
we don't have a national. So it's areas, those meets they should be involved in, and they have the standard. Our athletes have the standards to compete at those games. Yeah. Become frustrating sometimes.
Maybe we need a master calendar. While I want to agree, it's easy to say that a master calendar for Grenada with all sports and dates they are coming. It's a
difficult.
challenge.
It's quite difficult.
It is. I mean, it's easy to say that we need one, But it is a challenge because you have limited facilities and you have to get everyone speaking together.
Same language.
Right, because you have the cricket, you have, in some instances, you have cricket, you have football, you have track and field sharing the same facility. So, I mean, yes, it's easy to say that, but how can you do that when you have these sort of challenges? So unless you speaking together and coming up with these discussions in terms of how are we doing this, how are we doing that, where are we doing this, where are we doing that, for example, you know, you wouldn't be able to do that like that by just saying we need a master plan. A master plan is that where you know this is your venue for cricket, this is your venue for track and field. I mean, look for St. Andrews, for example. Progress Park, track and field, football, cricket, you know, just about everything. And even for fun time, community events, all these sort of things, you know. So I know when it comes to, and I know that for, because I remember some years ago, there was some sort of inquiry regarding the use of a playing field for something. And it took a while for a decision to be made because there were so many requests for to use that particular playing field around this time. And, you know, you have to consider whether it's a national event, community event, you know, all these sort of things. And who will get preference, who will, you know, all these sort of things. And, you know, so we can say that here, that we need a master plan and we can this and we can do that. But unless we have them speaking and speaking early and, you know, having something in place, that's why we say we need to keep supporting the National Sports Council, you know, and things like that. So, because when you have that, it means that there can be more collaboration and things like that. So that we'll have a sort of, you know, trust in terms of where we want to go, how we can probably move certain events to certain places, you know, and things like that. We have the overuse of certain playing fields, for example. Lassiter is probably the major playing field in St. David, you know, track and field, cricket, there's that, you know, everything for St. David, most, if not all. Yes, you have the other playing field as Malmount and others and things like that, but it is a major playing field in the parish, you know, as Progress Park, as Grenville Recreation Ground to an extent, you know. And then we're talking about probably football, whether it's GFA or whether it's the St. Andrews Football League. But then we have to also talk about secondary school football, you know, secondary school cricket, you know,
primary school.
Primary school. It's quite a lot, you know. So
and as you know, you're saying that too because discussion with in St. Patrick's with the full recreation ground. Even when it comes time for track and field, the ground is destroyed. It is really bad because they do shows there as well. Now it's carnival time. They have a lot of shows on there. They have water fed. They have this and going on. They have everything going on, and they just the ground is being destroyed. We don't want to take away what they're doing, but we are just saying it is difficult to have a schedule and
even if you do, and it will be
you
nice.
could put temporary. You could say temporary schedule.
Right.
Yeah.
It could be nice.
Subject to be changed.
Come together, you talk, you this, that, and the other. But again, I'm saying the challenges we face because of facilities, and we cannot rule out, as you suggested, the weather and all these sort of things. Okay.
Yeah.
So yes, it will be good that we come, we talk, we plan, and then we have these challenges because everything is focused on these few playing fields. Right? On these.
And I think it would, and Michael, it would be nice to see all these sporting bodies. It doesn't have to be everyone come together in one, schedule themselves together and work with each other. And I think that would be nice to see. And I think if that ever happened, there would be this is the big forward movement for Grenada in sports.
Right. And that's where it lies too, in that sometimes you have all these activities taking place, sometimes one after the other. Sometimes, I mean, and you have situations where the ground is used for cricket, and the following day after the cricket, if the cricket is played, you have to have it ready for football, or you have to have it ready for something else, you know, and these sort of things. And sometimes you realize that the grounds are not really conducive for competitive sport, you know, because it's so overused, you know.
So overused,
yeah, it's really overused.
And it is very difficult to play cricket on a field that plays soccer. Okay, they're using the spikes, the football clips, and it does destroy. You know, when you run it, it is difficult. We used it for many years, and we do what we have to do, but it is difficult to get to for it
And
to
then
happen.
some fields, for example, you don't have the luxury of using another section for the field events, for example.
Yeah.
If you have to do the, especially like the shot put and the discus,
Shot put and the
heavy
discus,
implements.
same spot. Yeah,
the
same place.
heavy implements and things like that.
Yeah.
So, and then they have to find time to get the field back up to a standard and things like that. You have footballers complaining that when the football season started, and they have, because of other sporting events taking place,
You can practice.
and not only that, they have to be running and, you know, all these sort of things like that. So yeah, it's quite a lot. It's easy again for us to be saying, let's sit down, let's talk, but we also take into consideration these challenges that they do have, you know, and especially the number one challenge has to do with the availability of the facilities. You know, we don't really have it, so we have to make do. And I'm not saying that we should take away the whole issue of sitting down and planning and, you know, collaborating. We can do that, right? But we'll come back to the main issue that we can do all of that, but we still have a fundamental issue of the lack of facilities. And if we don't get past that, then, you know, we probably be spinning top in mud. Is there another thing that is going on? Oh, yes, you did mention national championships, but Rudian, I see a girl, Sha'Carri Richardson, doing some wonders.
Yep.
You know?
I'm not under the hype of our, you know, American superstar. However, you know, sorry, Hazelin, I am showing the LSU love, so I don't think I'm not. But that was a run. That was a run. So it makes the World Championship very interesting now.
Well, yes, it makes it, because then you have our I'm laughing. LSU is appreciated. I didn't know that LSU brought out all this zest with these.
All of them. Oh my God! All of even in basketball, because I have one of the players on my Instagram, man. It's like,
I watch her competing, and what I love about her is that her finish. I mean.
She did it. Calm down, people. In the end, you know? That's cool. That's cool. That's
cool. And I'm saying, if she can bring that level of competitiveness to the World Championships, look out! It will be a very
and that is my thing with her. You haven't done nothing yet internationally, because she haven't got the opportunity to get on an Olympics or a World Championship. You know, so that's why for me, I am not. She is a phenom of an athlete, and I think she's better now because she took a step back. She have the right people around her now. She probably get rid of some people around her and have some good people around her. So she's not the same that we see a year ago, 2 years ago. She's a total different person now, and you can see it in her performance. We could see it in the way she run, but she has yet to do something on the world stage in terms of World Championship or Olympics. So until then, you know, but so I Hazelin, I'm still sending the love, Hazelin, LSU all the way. I'm still sending it. However, she hasn't been done yet. Yeah,
but she has Shericka Jackson to battle, and Shericka came up with 10.65.
And is it me or my understanding that Shellyan will be running the 100. She's the defending, right?
Yeah, Sherry-Ann will be there.
So she will be there as well, right? So she didn't have to run to qualify. She'll be in. So
Elaine is
will be out. She'll be in the relay. She may not even be on the top 4 girls because she was what, 5th? She was like 5th or something like that. So
it's about 5th.
Well, let's see how it goes. Yeah.
Certainly, and I think the women's 100 meters is shaping up to be a very competitive meet.
It would be. It would. All eyes will be on the race. All eyes will be on that.
If everyone can stay healthy, right?
It will be amazing. Yeah, it'll be a race. Yeah,
with Cherika Jackson.
Yeah, and I never exclude Talu, never exclude
and she has been having a very good diamond league, right?
So never exclude those girls, especially the 2 British girls and Talu, and don't even forget our young girl from St. Lucia. Like listen, it's going to be an amazing 8 girls 100 meter, and they all probably run in 10:7 or better, and that will be a race to watch. So all eyes will be on that finals of the 100 meters.
Are you surprised about the men's? Because well, I know Noah Lyles have been battling. I didn't even know he was battling COVID-19. But good to see that he will be in the US team.
He'll be running the 100 meters.
But then you have,
he's in there for the 100 meters, right? So
he will be attempting the double, the 1 and the 200.
Yeah, because he was 3rd, and then he have world standard, so then he is in for sure.
Right, but then you have Fred Curley, who is there.
Fred Curley is the 4th guy. Yeah.
Yeah, but not just a 4th guy, but remember Fred Curley is defending.
No, that's what I mean. I mean, because I was talking about the 3 guys who win, and then he's the 4th. Yeah, he is the 4th, right? So you have to run it. He didn't need to run to qualify. He's automatically in. Yeah.
So that would be interesting, and folks, we can't.
I don't know if the men 100 is as fire as the women. Unfortunately,
come on.
And I don't know if I'm anxious to see that. I mean, it's.
Listen,
I don't know.
The men's 100 could be wide open because
I think it's wide open.
We'll have to be monitoring all the athletes in their progression all the way to the final. Who make it to the final, right?
Well, let me give you my prediction on the men 100. I think it's going to be the young man from Kenya. I think he'll be that surprise.
So you have eyeing that, right?
Yeah, I think he's the surprise.
Because I believe that we have our Italian. I mean, he has been.
He came from nowhere, and
he was what do you call it? One
wonder. He's like a Donovan. He's like a Donovan Bailey.
Honest, I think it will be wide open. The
100 meter man is wide open. The women is not. The women is also wide open. However, you kind of could see. I'm only one.
Yeah,
I could not. Yeah, I'm looking at the 8th finalists more than the 1st place. I'm only watching the 8th finalists. Is what my interest is on the 8th finalists. And there's no world record breaking. No, but I'm looking at the
Once the women show up healthy, it will be a competitive.
It'll be a competitive event,
right?
Yeah.
Because you can't rule out Shellyan. You can't. Sherika is looking very good, and Shikari. Shikari is now.
She's coming to win. So mindset is first place on the podium. Yeah.
She's fresh, now.
Yeah, she is. Well, we don't know yet. Sorry, Hazelin. Drug tests haven't gone yet, but I'm forgive me. I'm just joking, Hazelin. I would never do that to you, but it's just a laugh, okay?
She brings something I think that track and field will need going into that. She brings that hype into the. And I think
she brings back the Gail Devers, and the Molinati, and she bring back the days of those ladies.
What I will add to is that she brings that hype to the women as how Bolt brought it to the men.
To the men, yeah.
In terms of the 100.
Yeah.
So people, Sha'Carri in a women's 100-meter final, I'm certain will have that sort of interest, or more interest than probably the men's final, right?
Yeah.
While we are that, let's not forget that the men's 400 meters could be also a very competitive meter.
But I also think it's open. Yes, that's
what I'm saying, open, but very competitive. By the way, our South African guy,
he wants to win again.
He's looking good.
he's looking very good. He's looking very, very good. Yeah.
I know with Kirani getting over everything, with the loss of his coach and things like that, and getting the frame of mind back, and certain that
he might want to do one for the coach.
Coach Harvey Gans would have
he might want him to do. He might go there and get on the podium for the coach.
Yeah,
and that's not a surprise. And that could be his last one. It could be, it could be. We don't know. But I think this World Championship is for the coach.
Well,
if he competed,
Well, when I spoke to Harvey this year, while I was in Phoenix with them, that was one of his things in terms of, because I was trying to get from Harvey, when he believes that Kirani will put a wrap on it, and Harvey was like, Kirani will be running. That's all he was saying.
Yeah,
will be running. And meaning that Kirani will be competing in World Championships, he'll be competing in Olympics,
as well as in the Olympics games,
games, right? And I know Kirani will want to, live that legacy for his coach, right? And probably and most likely be on the podium.
Most definitely.
He's the most decorated 400 meter.
Most decorated ever. Most decorated.
Basically.
And there's none for him to lose. However, I would really also love to see a really good 4x4 team for Grenada with him on it. I really would like to see that. I'm being totally honest. Not even going on a mix really. I believe we have 4 guys in Grenadian who could get on the podium, with including Kirani on that race, and it's just for them to just put it together. It's just for somebody to be on this show with us and listen to us, listen to what we have to say, and they might just hopefully could get into the spirit and consider it, because I don't think they're listening. I don't think those who are in position ever come on your show to get some advice, but we're not going to talk about that.
Hazel says Sha'Carri has grown, and with the right support and mentorship, she will blossom. Toro says, Mr. Bascom, what you have against CONCACAF football? Man, no mention of the current tournament. It looks like Canada is going to be hard pressed to move forward. Some people claim that the tournament is not as important as it once was to countries like heavyweight Canada. When we spoke about it, Toro, you probably missed it. We did say that Canada and the USA will be in the quarterfinals. Is it later on today or tomorrow? Yeah, but they will be in the quarterfinals.
And not only going further than that too, Jamaica is also in a position to go all the way to the finals.
Actually, it's tomorrow. Tomorrow, USA and Canada in
the quarterfinals.
Ohio. So,
and Jamaica could be in a position based on their bracket to move on all the way to the finals.
Mm-hmm. All right. So right. Yeah. Right. Mike Batiste says, speaking of 100 meters, where is Hali Hazard? And we got a sub 10 this year and doing nothing with the athletes. Sad. The sub 10 was Nazio, John.
We did spoke about it, but we don't know what the situation is.
The question was asked, why Nazio not in El Salvador? Why he's not? I saw some comments on social media. And if what I'm reading there, if that's true, well, it's sad, it's sad. But the question remains, why Nazio is not representing Grenada in national record holder, right?
Yep.
Over the one.
But even going with our females at shot putters, who why they're not there? There was that national champion. Well, listen, when you go to the US, and Hazelland could agree with me on that. In NCAA, if you at the NCAA championship, you almost at the level of world class. You almost competing at a world class level. So most of our athletes, Grenadian athletes who was at the NCAA championship. Should have been going to those games. Should have been going to those games.
When will Grenada reach to the level where, like Jamaica and the USA, the top three, automatically qualify to represent the nation at the World Championships, for example? When will Grenada?
I think there's a lot of excuses of we don't have the people, we don't have. No, we could have a national championship. Literally call a national championship. That stuff we could do.
It's in early in the year. It's in March.
Yeah, but it cannot be then. It has to be in this time. It has to be in this time, and you have. Right? It has to be, and it has to be a national championship. We can do anything we want to do.
Well,
and you know what gets me. You know what gets me, Michael, and it gets me in a way where I'm proud, and I know it seems like this is my fourth or fifth time mentioning this. The movements of St. Vincent, the movements of the investment that they are putting in the athletes and the trust, and not because I'm coaching an athlete who's from St. Vincent and she get to travel and perform and go to the places. No, it does the movement of them, because we've seen the athletes is going places and competing in those games. I mean, they finished with 2 medals at this CSC games. And in both of them was in the 800, but they had other athletes in so many other events. Mm-hmm. Where is Grenada? Where are we stand? Yes, we know we're watching. We had the girls went in beach volleyball. Just beautiful to watch. Other events, but where are we in track and field? What was the reason why Grenada didn't have not even a full team, even a 10-man team at the CSC games?
Yep, right. Sha'Carri changed the kind of weed she's smoking. No longer ganja from America. Her weed is now coming through FedEx from St. Vincent, Grenada, and Jamaica. On a serious note, Claire is saying, in death there is life. Carriacou will do just that. Grenada and coach. Yes. So we went a little extra to pull in some of the information we wanted to talk about. Normally it's an hour, but we had quite a bit to talk about. Folks, if you can really support whatever is happening in your communities in terms of sports, please do. I think we probably have to talk a little more about this. The idea of, and by the way, I think we both on the program support the whole idea of creating what we call like a master calendar for sports, right? But at the same time, we have to understand and appreciate the challenges. And unless we can deal with the challenges, then we may be creating more problems. Again, it's all well and good to have that, and it will be good to have that.
It will definitely be good to have it. Yeah. The only how it can happen but is, like I said, everybody needs to come and sit together.
And that's why I'm very supportive, and I still want to know why it is that our national sporting federations never really pushed for the national sports policy. I heard all sort of things about the information and blah blah blah, and think, hey, listen. If you are committed to sports and you're involved in sports, you would have an interest in finding out about the national sports policy. And I'm talking about prior to this period, okay? Because we had it for how many years in terms of a document, etc.
Yeah.
And there was no reason why you should not have been pushing as a sporting federation or touching base with other sporting federations and say, hey, listen, we need to push for this sporting policy, etc., because here is how it will benefit our association.
Our athletes.
Here is how it will benefit our constituents in terms of our athletes, our sportsmen, our sportswomen, right? But you were hearing all sorts of excuses and this, that, and the other, and the talking points. Hey, no, forget about the talking points. It's your interest. Get a copy of it, read it, try to understand it, and push towards getting that. And I blame the sporting federation for that.
If you run sport as a business, we do have business that fail, and if you run sport as a government, you do have government that fail. You have to run sport as sport, and the way sport is. You have to make it be based on the sport. It's not about it's a business, and it's not based on the sport itself. Some sports has more, some have less, but you have to run it as the actual sport itself. When you see, you have to run it as a business. Business fail. If you say, well, you have to be like the way the government runs stuff. Governments fail. So you have to have a different way to go about it. And the only way, like I say, I'm seeing it is for them to come together.
Yeah, but the
coming together.
On the business stuff you're talking about, people might disagree with that and say, you don't run a business to fail. You run a business to succeed. So you can still run sports as a business with the intention of succeeding. It may fail, but you have to.
But you cannot go in. But if you go in thinking business, then it will fail. Then the sporting part of it is not there. You're going in the business aspect about it. So you have to go in it in a sporting aspect, implementing it a business style in a sense, right? So
yeah. So Hazel says we also need to have succession plans. If we don't have any within our organizations, we can develop others to lead and build legacy. Well, that has been a sticking point. And that's why I think it's important that sporting federations, and that's why we encourage for more sporting clubs, etc., to look at their bylaws, their constitutions, and bring it up to some level, make sure it's modernized, and, even the people who are getting involved in these sporting federations. As a matter of fact, I want to talk about, there's an experience, and I will want to talk about it sometime, the basketball. And, I heard about it, and then I made some inquiries later on, and it was sad, that what I heard regarding the recent happenings with the basketball and the elections and what have you and it's something that I hope that is corrected, because we should not allow these things to continue permeating sports at the national level. And if what really took place there, it's really sad. But getting back to the whole point of the succession plans and all these sort of things, it's important that we find, people and involve people who also have the interests and the commitment, because most times they talk about it early. I'm committed to blah, blah, blah and thing, and probably within their first month, they gone AWOL, MIA, all sort of thing. And I don't have time for this and this and blah, blah, blah and thing like that. So yeah, we do need people who are committed, especially sports in Grenada is basically amateurish, right?
Yeah.
So people shouldn't be going there with the intention of making money or making our money, it's not a professional thing in Grenada in terms of the administration of sports. So try to understand what you're getting involved in, what you'll be in. Try to understand a little more on the historical background of the association and all of that and thing, right? Before you actually get involved. And don't just put yourself there because you believe, that you can do something, or you can you want to fly as others, you want this sort of thing. No, we can't do that. Yeah, but
when you know better than the other person, and those type of things. So it's a lot. It's a hit, and it's one of those things that have to come together. But they need proper people who have a good shoulder, a good head on their shoulder, who understand, and go from there.
I'm not convinced that success is the aim of the people who lead sport, especially track and field in Grenada. The recent injustice perpetrated against our top under 13 athletes is just the latest example. I know I've been speaking to Mike about this, and I think they're very hot about it. A lot is happening, and I'm telling you, when you not everything, I sort of bring on the program and talk about and things, but I find time sometimes to speak directly with some of the people involved, and you hear so many things that's happening. And it's a pity that, and sometimes when I listen to these things, and sometimes I even go as far as when the youngsters are involved, I try to get in touch with the parents and ask them, so how are you, trying to maintain focus with young ones and, let them stay focused and not lose interest and, these sort of things. And it is a challenge for some of them because you remember with technology and all these sort of things and with peer pressure and all these things, it's no wonder we have all these athletes who are just giving up. I have this situation where, well, not I, but I've been looking at the situation where you go back at Intercall, for example, and the performances of these athletes, and you asking about these athletes now, and they're telling you that they're done with track and field. The athletes themselves telling you that they're done with track and field. And you saw the talent out there, and you wonder what is happening? How can we not harness these talents, right?
Yep.
And the athletes themselves telling you that no, I'm done with that. One told me that they go and play football.
And I had a parent told me who was a star athlete who told me she don't want her daughter to compete.
Yeah,
it's something,
and that's what I'm
on.
saying. That is a conversation we need the authorities to be having, And I don't understand when we have executives that are not talking about these things and talking about it when they sit down to have meetings and things like that. And it's not just, your meetings shouldn't be just about who should be a manager of the team and who should be flying with that team and who should be blah, blah, blah and things like that. And sometimes you're hearing about they going into executive meetings and quarreling about this person always traveling there and this person always this and it's my turn and all this. And they're not talking about the important issues like how you ensure that these athletes can stay and be consistent and be in a program and etc. And somehow we that's what happening now, right? And until we arrest that program, we probably may be spinning top in mud because we're making a lot of investment in sports, but we're not doing that. Folks, let me let you know now that we have a lot of things to talk about in future programs, but I can tell you now that on our program next week, we'll have the new ambassador for Diaspora Affairs, Terry Forrester, who will be speaking to us about what he intends to do as the ambassador of Diaspora Affairs to leverage our diaspora, especially as it relates to sports. We have a lot of our elite athletes, for example, who are based in the diaspora. So how we can leverage that and ensure that they, have a seat also around the table. I know we have the Athletes Commission that is headed by Hazel and things like that. But we want to have a broader conversation, especially for those who are in the diaspora. And when I say the athletes, I'm referring to track and field, I'm referring to basketball, I'm referring to volleyball because we do have some of them. We have returned to football as well because we have some of them who also, and how we can ensure that we can get more of our second and third generation Grenadians, for example, to participate and to involve and to represent, and not just in the US and in Canada, but whether it's in England, in Europe, for example, and in other parts of the Caribbean. There may be some of them probably residing in Trinidad or residing in St. Vincent and things like that. And they have an interest in representing Grenada, but at the same time, making it easy for them, one, and not frustrating. Because I know of some of our athletes who have decided to represent Grenada, and it's so much frustration for them. I have seen the comments by Nazio John's mom, for example, and things like that. So Nazio is our top sprinter, record holder, etc., and and these sort of things. So we have to find ways of things. So we'll have Terry Forrester.
I know definitely, Michael, and even piggybacking on what you said, my athlete who is from St. Vincent, she's landed here I get calls from Athletics Canada, literally calling me, asking me, do you need a letter so that she could put in her citizenship? They want her. So they reach out to me asking, I can give you a letter so her papers can be fast tracked. So, and she's not even, she wasn't born yet.
Well, and that's
so
the thing about, because I
how
recall,
can we do the same thing? Yeah.
I recall the same incident with we had Charlie Joseph, for example. Charlie became a citizen of the US after he retired from international football. Shalry was bombarded throughout his career in terms of playing for the United States when he was in the MLS, but it's only after he retired from international football that he decided to take up his US citizenship, because he may have decided to represent the US if he had done that prior to that, And we have the situation where we had people like Amanda Crawford, for example, and it was sad to see how Amanda basically stopped representing Grenada. One of our bright, fighting athletes. And, I'm saying these things and I can call the names of these athletes because I was involved in their decision to represent Grenada. Whether it was Amanda, whether it was Braylon, whether it was Hali Hazard, whether it was her brother Hazard, Nazio John, all these people, some way or the other, in terms of ensuring that they get their documents and all these sort of things. And Amanda was one who I knew at the time, and that's why I really pushed for Amanda, because she had the opportunity to represent Barbados also, right? Because her mom, basically Barbados, Grenada, her mom actually born in Grenada, of missionaries, but then grew up in Barbados, right? But Amanda born in the USA, so she even could have represented the USA if she wanted, right? Chose Grenada, and there was an invite from Barbados. I knew that there was an invite from Barbados for her to represent Barbados. So that's why we had to, I said, guys, we need to act on that, and things like that. So, and then we had the Hazard again, which was Trinidad and Grenada and the USA. And they decided to go to Grenada, But, quite a bit we can talk about, but hopefully next weekend we'll be able to get a little more about the diaspora and how they can leverage the diaspora through sports in particular, and we can get a kind of clear understanding from the authorities, even though he's newly appointed, but certainly he will want to come with some knowledge and some information for us about how he plans to make his job easier, I hope, as Ambassador of Diaspora Affairs. Okay, folks, that's all for this time. Happy viewing, wherever you're doing, or whatever you're doing, whatever you're looking at. As I said, there's Ashes, there is football on TV, there is cricket on TV, because apart from the Ashes, there is also the women's T20 International, West Indies versus Ireland later on today. There's track and field as well, Jamaica and the United States in particular. It was sad that in terms of the track and field, that NBC has decided that they will show golf and other things than track and field. It became a very
live results. Get live results.
So you have to go to either CNBC or Peacock to look at our USA TV, USA track and field.tv to get some of it. But so I was looking at it on CNBC and things like that. Jamaica is on pay-per-view, or if you have, you can access the TV Jamaica, you can be able to find that. But lots of sports happening. And then there's also, as usual, on weekends, we have the GFA tournament. At some point, the GFA tournament will take a back seat for a while because we have Carnival coming up. And, normally it goes on recess for a while. Then we have the CONCACAF quarterfinals. I know you and Toro will be looking out for probably an upset, USA versus Canada. So quite a bit happening. We have Wimbledon on as well. Sometimes some of the matches going very late into the night.
I know, it's interesting.
Tennis.
Very interesting. Yeah.
Yes, folks. So that's all the best. Looking forward to having you next Saturday, God's willing. Until then, I want to wish you all the best. And whatever you do to some level of, as I will say, some level of moderation. Thank you very much. Thank you, Rudian. Thank you, everyone.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.